first time since 1975. Let that soak in. 1975. 42 years, as Paul Carcaterra said. What an incredible, the feeling. And John Tillman was only a part of it for what? Eight years, I think?
Grape bubble yum wasn't even created yet. Just regular bubble yum.
That feeling.
Sorry, dude.
No worries. That feeling. I can't imagine that feeling. It's a lot like Bresh, where he had his, but it's not even close. Maryland is literally a top 3 job of all time.
Yeah, you know what it is? It's very, very comparable. You had 2 demons exercised in the course of 2 years. The North Carolina 25-year drought demon and the Maryland 37-year? 42. I'm not good with numbers. I'm good with shapes.
And colors.
Yes. Letters, numbers, but I keep it in my area.
So 42 years. I mean, it's just incredible. Hopefully you enjoyed it just as much as we did. On right now with us is a guy that we thanked earlier in the show. The founder of Lacrosse All-Stars, and a big part of the reason why we've done what we've done over the last 2 years.
Looks younger in person than he does on Twitter.
Gray/blonde/dark/ not really sure what kind of color hair, but he looks good. Just a good-looking guy.
It not only lowers the fruit from the trees, it ripens it.
Connor Wilson is on with us, and again, Connor, can't thank you enough for what you've helped us do. Jeff Brunel, you're out there in Idaho. Your take on this is a big question. Your take on this season, your take on Lacrosse All-Stars future, your take on this game. I apologize for throwing a lot of meat at you, but
you're going to get a lot.
As a liberal, getting meat thrown at Connor. I mean, it's as close as we're going to get to watching PCU with our friends as we can get, right?
That's the good thing is that when I was at Wesleyan, which PCU is based off of, I was the guy throwing meat.
Love it.
Now I'm on the other end of the spectrum.
Oh my God, it feels so good. Feels
Exactly.
so good.
I think you got to look at a couple things. The first is that last year we had UNC winning the men's and women's titles. This year we have Maryland
I forgot about that.
winning the men's and women's titles. That, I think, is a cool storyline.
No question.
Shows a little dedication. We see the game growing, but I don't know how far outside of the hotbed it's necessarily going to go all the time.
Yep.
I mean, you still got UNC, you got Maryland. These are kind of big-time schools.
I'm not even upset about that.
I'm not upset about it at all.
I actually like it.
Yeah, they've been building
I'm
programs.
hoping I'm rooting for Purdue next year.
There you go. But I think the big story here is Maryland making, between 1975 and 2016, they played in 11 championship games and lost 11 straight. And for them to come back and for Tills to do this after making a couple finals and not giving up on the program and pounding through, I think that's a real story. I think it's really impressive. So that was great. I love the uncertainty that we got this year. I mean, you could make a legitimate argument for Hofstra to be the #1 team at a certain point in the season, right?
No question.
You could make a legitimate argument for Maryland, for Denver, for a bunch of other teams this year. And I don't know that we've ever seen that before.
And it's going to get better.
And I think we're going to see more of it. You'll get a guy like Dylan Sheridan out of Cleveland State. Hard to see them not competing within 5 years. You look at what Monmouth did. They did not win a game.
Yep.
They didn't win a game their first year, and that was 4 years ago. And their seniors, after going 0-for, come back and make an NCAA tournament
14-4 in the year.
and win a game.
It's incredible.
It's unreal. So I think what we're seeing is a major growth period in the game. The dynamics are changing about who's great, who's not, and anybody can come in, and there's opportunity out there. Michigan, that's a huge opportunity for somebody to step in to what John Paul built up there.
What have you heard, Connor, what have you heard, to put you on the spot, about the hiring process at Michigan and where it is? Give us a peek behind the curtain.
I mean, honestly, if they haven't made a selection before this weekend, you got to figure that one or two of their top choices had to be coaching this weekend, right?
You're right.
That's a great call.
You're right. It's a great call.
Because that is a job. If you call up somebody who's not coaching right now and say, hey, you want the Michigan job? What are you going to do? Say no? That'd be crazy.
Right.
It would be crazy. So I think they got to be looking at Nads. Nads has to be looking at Michigan, given all he's lost at Towson. He has built an unbelievable program there, but take him out of Towson, put him in Michigan. What could he do there?
It's unlimited. It's unlimited.
Matt Brown, is that another guy you'd think about bringing in? He's never been a head coach.
Jerry Burns, another one.
So maybe you're talking to Jerry, maybe you're talking to some of these other guys who are out already. But I think Nadalin has to be in the top consideration for that job. Otherwise, I really think they would have announced it by now.
Yeah.
And that's just a feeling that I get. But
I don't think you're wrong. You know, I think you look at these jobs, and I think it's a super positive reflection upon the amount of awesome coaches that are coaching the game.
There are a ton of
and
them out
Ryan and I
there.
have discussed it over the course of the spring in our podcast that there are just too many great assistants and qualified guys prepared and ready to take the next step, and not enough opportunities for them to actually do it. It wasn't too long ago that Joe Bresci ended up getting the head coaching job at Chapel Hill, and Nick Myers was anointed the head
He
coach
started as
at
a
Ohio
mailman,
State.
by the way, in that organization, volunteer all the way up to
Look,
runner-up national
to
champion.
And that's what you have to do,
to what
right?
I would
To get a
consider,
job.
and Tom Towers referenced earlier, to what
right.
I would consider as the National Coach of the Year. As great as Nads was over the course of the year,
You're 100% right, too.
listen, Nick Myers
fantastic.
brought Ohio State to the final game, and a lot of people felt going into the game that they were the best team in the country. And if the measurement of a coach is helping a team become the best version of themselves, hard to argue that Nick Myers didn't do that better than anyone over the course of the year.
Using his own words in that same
And you can
statement.
even take it off the field with what Ohio State is doing. Those guys every week are doing clinics for kids. They're trying to draw more fans into their stadium.
It's a liberal
They're-
talk.
Yeah,
Inclusive
absolutely.
environment.
Absolutely. As liberal as it gets. But they're trying to grow their fan base, grow the game in Ohio. And that's a smart move. Think about it. Who can you recruit into Ohio State? Ohio kids. Right?
And there's a
Upper
lot of talent
Arlington,
in there.
Dublin, Scioto, there's a lot of talent out in Ohio. So the more that they push it and present it as an option, I think more and more kids are going to look at it as a viable alternative to football.
Who wouldn't consider Ohio State when you think of all of the benefits that those student athletes have? You know, if that athletic department
alumni
isn't
network,
the
everything
poster
you come
child
up.
That's right.
for trying to eliminate reasons to succeed, which athletic department is?
That's
and
right.
Nick Myers has done a great job of being able to keep his team down on the farm and trying to maintain sort of a blue-collar outlook as it relates to managing his group to becoming the best version of themselves, as he would say, so that they're able to ultimately win a national championship. I think he did the best that they could. I think that, you know, Matty Palin had said it the best when I spoke to him before the game, which is, if both teams play their best, if all teams play their best, Maryland wins the national championship. And I think today we saw that, you know, everybody, I'm not so sure Ohio State played their best, but the reality is that had a lot to do with the way that Maryland approached the game,
That's
the way
right.
they prepared for the game. And I think that Maryland determined the outcome of every game that they played, and that if they play their best, they win. And that's it.
If they're able to dictate, right?
Yeah,
because they have the talent, they have the strategy, they've got the coaches, everybody's pulling in the same direction. I mean, with a team like that, when they're flying, they're going to be really,
It's a
really hard to
cavalcade
beat.
of dynamics.
Remember last
On a
year,
close
they
game.
lost 8 one-goal games. 8 one-goal games. They turned it around. That exact same team almost won a national championship today.
And to me, a big part of that stuff, too, falls on the players, right?
Of course.
It's not necessarily just the coaches, but it's looking at your seniors, even your juniors, sophomores who are stepping up and saying, what are those little things that we can do to make the difference? And I think this Maryland team this year, in every game, on every play, they were looking for those little things that they could do correctly. And honestly, I think that's what got them through, broke them through the 42-year wall.
Connor, who's the Tewaaraton winner?
For me, it's a no-brainer. It's Matt Randolph.
It's gotta be.
He won. It's about postseason. First of all, I can't believe that they cut the list down as early as they do.
Yeah.
It should be cut down
That's fair.
much later.
When do they
Who
cut
didn't
the
make
list?
it? That
Before
should've
the
made it.
There you go.
NCAA.
That's better.
Who didn't
That's
make
a
it
great
that
question.
should have made it?
So I think you could put the Maryland goalie in there. I think you could put.
Wow, that's aggressive.
Really?
Yeah,
I think you're on an
I think
island
you
there.
Could, I think you could put the Ohio
Sounds to
State
me
goalie
like
in there.
liberal city.
I'm
Sorry.
talking about that's
Tommy Carey.
That's where I live. Population 1.
Love that confidence. Can't shake it.
Can't shake it. I know I'm right.
You're missing the big one. You're missing the big one. Come on, Connor.
Goalie.
In
You're
like
missing the
60
In the
days.
conversation for
In 60
Tewaaraton,
days.
You're missing the big one.
David Starsky in the conversation
At the beginning-
for best police officer, not based on the 70s series,
He was fantastic.
but based off of the remake in the 2000s.
So you're saying it's all Hutch? You're saying it's all Hutch.
You're missing the big one. Come on, Connor. Come on, Connor. Who is
I
it?
think there are a lot of guys, honestly. I think the list should still be about 30 guys at the beginning of the NCAA tournament. And if you want
That's
to
a
cut the
little
list
aggressive.
down to 5 for the Final Four,
Who's the voting?
Not everybody gets a trophy, Connor.
That is true.
I want one guy to get the trophy.
Give us the top 5. Connor Wilson's top 5.
That's right.
Who are they?
I mean, I think you got to have Fields, you got to have Rambo. I think Baptiste, given his dominance,
That's
you
fair.
got to have him in there, and he's not necessarily a one-dimensional
Non-negotiable.
player.
Yeah.
This is where it kind of gets hard. Okay, that's a clear miss, right? First ever Tuarton went out to Doug Shanahan.
Clear miss.
Clear miss was Zach Curry.
So is he number 4?
Because Shanny won it when Hofstra didn't. They didn't make the Final Four that year. They didn't do anything. So
I-
Courier's got to be number
I think
4.
Doug Shannon deserved it that year.
He did.
Oh, absolutely. No one argues that.
But within that
Absolutely
same
not.
vertical market, I would think that Zach Courier is a no-brainer.
Yeah, I mean his numbers were
On the
as good
commitment.
or better.
Yeah.
You know, Kyle Harrison, one of the reasons that he won it, not only because he was
100%.
extremely dynamic.
Kyle Harrison's numbers were not the same.
But he
as
could also
theirs,
take face-offs.
and the fact that he won it adds
Justifies
further indication
Courier.
that
That's
Zach
right.
Courier
But
should
it
have.
shows
Yeah.
if you're a dynamic player. I mean, Zach Curry was a game
They
changer for.
didn't even award dynamic. Like, look, if you're going to talk about Trevor Baptiste, you have to talk about Zach Courier's game. I mean, I mentioned it on Twitter, and I was like, look, the reality is everyone wants to promote Baptiste to being the best player in 2017. The reality is he wasn't. He was not. He didn't provide the same amount of value to his team that Zach Courier did to Princeton. And that's my opinion, and I know that, but
I
like,
think Denver was built around, Baptiste to a certain extent. I think
they were
Princeton
built around
was
possessions.
built around
But
Courier.
you can't build around 50-plus points. You can't build around 130 goals. You can't build. You can build around 20 or 22nd in the country in cause turnovers.
Yeah.
I mean, these are things
Unbelievable.
that no one's ever seen from the sport
Yeah.
since, say, maybe Andy Towers. But you didn't even have those cause turnover numbers. You had a crap load more goals. And
I caused my own turnovers, Ryan.
Self-caused turnovers.
Right?
was my game.
I called those forces.
Yeah.
Forces by Andy. dot, 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 dot.
Last guy, though, my 5th guy would honestly, from Ohio State, would probably be Fennell. I thought he was.
I don't disagree.
He was strong. I think he's a go-to guy. He could put the biscuit in the basket.
I think consistency pays, though. Fennell, look, there's no doubt.
him down here.
He was legit. I think that Ben Reeves is still in that conversation. When you talk consistency,
But this
he
is
was
what I'm
hurt
talking
for
about.
the
10,
first
20
quarter of the
guys
season.
should still be on the list. Like, Reeves was fantastic. Yale wins that game. They're doing something different. Tom Mariano from Cuse, if he had gone on a crazy run.
Nick
Mariano, sorry.
Tom is his
dad,
brother.
right? Yeah,
No,
his
his brother.
Right.
He's the head coach of the
Mike
lunch.
played against
there
me
we
in
go.
Princeton.
I think it's because Tom follows me on Twitter.
There we
Nick
go.
doesn't.
That's
So,
fair. That's
shout
fair.
out to Tom
Whoa,
Mariano.
yeah, that's
Thanks.
a shot on Nick, too.
There we
Follow Color and Whistle.
Yeah, don't kill me. But I think, a kid like that, Sergio Salcido, if he had a great run in the playoffs and scored four a game, he's scoring the most important goals at that point. Is he worthy of winning the
big goals,
tour?
and that's what Carthen talked about earlier, which was big goals scored at big times. If you're a 4th grader out there and you are watching this performance, what do you think? Which player do you think sticks out as the most memorable player of the performance? For me, when I was a 4th grader in 1979, 1980, it was, Kevin Cook, Eddie Cook. What do you guys think?
I mean, from this Final Four, who is the player that's going to stand out in people's minds?
If you're a 4th grader, who sticks out?
That's an excellent
That's a
question.
great perspective, too, by the way.
We're gonna bring him up. Ryan Leahy, can you come up here, please?
Let's go.
That's right. Oh, yeah.
We're gonna bring him up.
We're not 4th graders.
All right, we've got Ryan Leahy,
Squeeze in, big dog.
Cornell Big Red grad, Pat Leahy, mother Mimi Leahy. Mimi does the yoga classes at the YMCA in New Canaan here. Ryan is a football stud for the New Canaan Black. Is that right? New Canaan Black in the fall. He plays, what's your house team this spring?
Penn State.
Penn State. He plays for Penn State. Tambo, that's going out to you. Ryan,
love how they do that.
obviously you watched the game with your father and your siblings, and your mother showed up today. What sticks out to you today most about the national championship game that you think may be a reminder to you moving ahead as it relates to working hard and chasing your dreams?
To go to the goal and not to be too selfish of the ball.
Very, very smart. And were you surprised by the outcome of Maryland ending up clipping Ohio State?
Sort of, but sort of not, because Maryland is a very good team, but so is Ohio State, so I didn't really know which team was going to win. I thought it was a pretty even match.
I like that assessment. And moving ahead into the future, as you become, a fifth grader, sixth grader, seventh grader, and you move on, how would you like to see the game evolve and change in a way that will make it more enjoyable for your generation to play, and beyond that, more enjoyable for your parents and their respective friends to watch? What changes would you make in today's game after watching college lacrosse in 2017 and more distinctly watching how the game evolved over the course of the playoffs? Do you want to see a shot clock? Do you want to see, 2-point play? Anything like that you think would stick out and make the game more enjoyable to play for you and your friends as you get older, and ultimately more enjoyable to watch for those that are going to tune in?
I think that I like the shot clock, but I think it should be, even times.
What's the perfect amount of time? How long should the shot clock be?
It should be, 40, 45.
You run a tight ship.
Fast-paced.
You run kind of a tight ship.
But it
You're
could
a
be
lot
from the
more
touch of the
organized than your
box. There's a
father.
lot of different things. Who's the player today that you envy the most being out there?
I like the Maryland goalie because he made a lot of big saves at the end.
So
I like
I'm
that.
no longer alone.
I like that. I like that.
Love it. I love
Ryan,
it.
That's what I'm talking about.
you set Connor free. We want to thank you for your effort.
That's incredible.
Thanks for coming up here, spur of the moment. A lot of people wouldn't show the same level of confidence that you showed, but it was like falling off of you. So we appreciate that. It's given all of us
Yes.
a kick in our step, and we appreciate your involvement for us. Thank you.
Nice work, Rye.
All right.
Thanks,
Nice work.
Great job.
We're going to finish up. Nice work, buddy. We're going to finish up the show here. Connor, give us the last words on the future of what's going to happen in 2018.
What's the future of IYF?
Yeah, there we go. We getting a contract extension?
Right.
We'll talk about it.
Oh, man.
Now, yeah, of
no,
course. Are
now
you
this-
kidding me? You guys, well, first of
Are
all,
we
I think
inspiring or expiring?
I think you guys are inspiring. There's a level of honesty that you guys are providing to Division I lacrosse, which, quite frankly, has not been provided in a number of years, and it's refreshing to see. And I think there's got to be more of it. If we want this game to grow and improve, we want the product to improve and get really across the country, around the world, we can't be stagnant. We can't hold on to the old traditions just because they are what they are. We have to be willing to push forward, look in a new direction. I think you guys are doing a fantastic job of broaching some subjects that make people feel a little uncomfortable, but it's stuff that you got to talk about. Uncomfort, that's how you get comfortable in the long run. Get uncomfortable.
Yeah, I
now.
think that Ryan, I don't want to speak for Ryan, but I think that we both feel most comfortable in a situation where everybody else feels uncomfortable.
I'm up for it.
And that's kind of the key to it. It's a little bit like Spinal Tap, but not exactly Spinal Tap.
Exactly.
But we appreciate also the platform to do it on.
Yeah,
we
you do an
wouldn't have
unbelievable
this
job.
ability to do it without the platform that
You,
provide.
Jeff, Dukes, you guys absolutely crush it for us.
Everyone. And so we're excited for the future of this podcast and hopefully maybe this broadcast as well. We're excited
Got to
about
do more of this.
Yeah, definitely the
Yeah.
2018 season. But in the end, excited about the future with you guys and moving forward.
Likewise, so are we. You guys have been doing an unbelievable job. I get a lot of positive feedback on Twitter and all these other places about what you guys are doing, and nothing negative. So,
Cheers. With that being said, we're going to end the broadcast for today. I hope you enjoyed the show. Again, we're going to come back in the summer with a little MLL action.
MLL edition.
That's right. Yeah, a little
Right,
MLL
that's
edition.
Joe Kings?
Oh, what? You just kind of spoiled it, which you always do. But it is what it is. Don't
I have
worry
an
about
attention
it.
span deficiency.
Maybe.
It
We're
makes
going
me
to
fun at
discuss
parties. It
contract
makes it awkward
extensions and
after.
all this kind of stuff. But in the meantime, thank you for the listen as always. Thank you for a great 2017 season. And we'll check back in on the next podcast, next
Congrats,
broadcast.
Kills. Congrats, Maryland. Congrats, Rambo and Eacock.
Cheers. Thank you.